Today, I would like to talk about the use of GET technology in Taiwan for some applications, in particular, the ecological preservation and the others. Later on, there will be a playback a DVD segment, which lasts for about 20 minutes. Introduce how in Taiwan the GET technology is used for preservation of ecology. Now let me start from this. I remember that 2 weeks ago I briefly mentioned about the history of economical development in Taiwan. Now, in the early stage of the economical development, from 1965 to about 1985, the first 20 years, Taiwan's society, just like today's in China, the environmental pollution was very, very bad. Just focus on economical development and industrial productions. So Taiwan, particularly in southern part of Taiwan, was very, very badly polluted. Now, starting in 1985, people of Taiwan began the environmental conscience. They protest against the chemical plants development without any assessment of environmental effect. So from mid-1980, Taiwan began seriously consider the pollution protections, environmental pollution protections. In the meantime, also start the ecological preservations. Now, Taiwan in the European view of Taiwan, particularly in the end of 16th century, when the Europeans first came to East Asia, the Portuguese sailors, they didn't land it in Taiwan, but they sailed through Taiwan. Then they found that this undeveloped piece of land, an island, is so beautiful. So the Portuguese sailors, they call this island as Ilha Formosa. That means a beautiful island. Indeed, Taiwan is a very beautiful country. For those of you who had the opportunity to tour Taiwan, you will see the beauty of Taiwan. Taiwan has mountains, has coastlines, very pretty. Particularly for those of you who ever tried the snorkeling or scuba diving. Anyone tried that before here? Snorkeling or scuba diving? Now, particularly in southern and the eastern part of Taiwan, has 1/10 of the world's shallow water corals categories, 1/10. Later on, I will have slides to show you the distribution of the corals, shallow water corals in the whole world. And Taiwan is very much in the middle of it. It's so pretty. I remember that about 3 years ago, my wife and I, we went to Orchid Island. Have anyone heard of Orchid Island? It's offshore of southeast Orchid Island. My wife and I, we like snorkeling and scuba diving. We went to many places in the world. No doubt, that's the most beautiful corals I ever had experienced in Orchid Islands. And also nearby Green Islands. It's so pretty. And different kinds, so many kinds. Now, talking about corals, let me provide some information for you. Coral is animal. It's not vegetable. It's not like botanists or so. It's animals. It grows. It reproduces. Now, most of the people would think that the coral survive with sunlight. So all the corals that we see in the shallow water, only when sunlight can penetrate through, only up to about 100 feet or less of water depth. However, in recent years, when human beings spend more time exploring the deep sea, we found that in Caribbean seas, water depth about 8,000, 10,000 feet, or even in Hawaii, 15,000, 20,000 feet water. There's plenty of corals, even huge, corals 20 stories high. So now, at that depth, there's definitely no sunlight. However, there are so many huge corals. So that tells us that coral can survive without sunlight. So the information, the knowledge we had before was incorrect. Now, Taiwan, of course, mainly, as I say, that the shallows belongs to shallow water corals. Very pretty. And besides that, Taiwan has all kinds of naturals, birds, seasoned birds, and fishes, etc. Now, in the DVD, I'll show you nearby this place, Taipei, in Yinan County, called Fushan Botany, Botanic Garden. Anyone ever visit? In the frame, I'll show that it preserved 1/3 of the endangered species in that small area. And also animals, plants, trees, so pretty. When we filmed this DVD, which I was the TV series, I was the producer and the host. We went to Busan, spent one night there. So pretty, so quiet. You enjoyed it. For those of you who are interested in knowing more about Taiwan, should spend some time, visit Busan. Now Busan is controlled by the Agricultural Commissions. So only every day they allow only 300 visitors, tourists, to visit. For those of you who would like to visit here, you have to get online to register first. See if you are lucky to get in. Right? Every day they allow 300 tourists to visit Busan Botanical Gardens. So pretty. And now, in Taiwan, as the economical development, we got into the high-tech era. Now came to this, we use the GET technology for many applications, including the ecological preservation. Anyone heard of GET technology? GRID? No one? GET. You know that. It's a square, it's GET. GET technology is relatively recent technology, high-tech, part of high-tech technology developed. You heard of supercomputer? Huge. It's only IBM will manufacture a supercomputer, or Cray computer. Heard of Cray computer? The computer is so huge, probably occupied 10 times of these rooms. And storage capacity is 100,000 times of today's notebook computers. Only IBM's and Cray companies manufacture a supercomputer. That was maybe 10, 15 years ago. Nowadays, very, very few countries or institutions will purchase a supercomputer from IBM or Cray. Now, because now computer, instead of supercomputer, we used cluster computer. Heard of cluster computer? C-L-U-S-T-E-R, cluster computer. Now, I'm sure that each one of you has a computer, notebook computer, right? Now, what's the capacity of your computer? Memory disk?
Well, the memory is 2 gigabytes.
Gigabytes.
The hard drive is 500.
500. How many % of the capacity you ever use?
Of the hard drive? Over 500. The flash drive. I use most of it.
Now, averagely speaking, only 1 or 2% of the capacity or capabilities of the computer, each computer is being used every day. So the rest of the capacities of each computer is idle, never being used. So actually, each computer, the computer companies actually, 10 giga, 20 giga, etc., those are waste for each of you, never used. So if we can save that, say we connect thousands of PC, we have 1,000 times capacity. If we connect 10,000, we have 10,000 capacity of each one. That is the concept of cluster computer. So nowadays, most of the institutions, they don't purchase supercomputers, too expensive and outdated. They use the cluster computer. All right. So connect thousands of small computers, and then you can play around. I'm sure that you saw the CNN or whatever TV network, when they played, say for example, the National Football League, American Football League. Now every Sunday, now is the season, right? Every Sunday, there are 16 games played simultaneously also. Now you have so many monitors, shows different games. Now, the editors in the control room will say, okay, show this, show Chicago and the New York Giants, say, games, or change. In the commercial, they change to other games. That's the concept of greed. So many greed, so many, all right, and they can control it. So that's the idea of greed computer, greed technology. It originated from electrical power grid. Electrical power, sometimes, say in the cold regions, during summertime. During summertimes, they don't have to use that much electrical energy. So they could provide the excessive power, which they are not using, to, let's say, in the warm region, like Texas in the US. In the summertime, most of the people turn on air conditioning. So the peak power. Now each utility companies, if they designed the capacity to meet the peak power, that will be very huge. Now after the peak, then the power is idle there. It's waste. So they send the power, excessive power, to supply to the other regions and vice versa. That's the beginning, that's the early stage of the so-called electrical grid technology. Right? So nowadays, the computer era, the computer is using that concept developed as grid, which was started probably 15 years ago. All right? And Taiwan is in the dealing stage of using the grid technology. All right? So we will focus on how we use the grid technology in ecological preservations in Taiwan. I have some slides to show you. Now, again, I remember I showed you this about 2 or 3 weeks ago. The organizations of National Applied Research Laboratories. A few years ago, I served as chairman of the board, and we have several. Yeah, pointer, please. Where's the pointer? No. Eh? Okay, could you? Yeah, thank you. Now, here. National Center for High Performance Computing Center, NCHC, is one of the research centers under National Applied Research Laboratories. Now, there, the biggest computer of Taiwan, in Taiwan, is there. So that center plays a very important role, not just for the applications of grid technology, also for other purposes too. All right. So you can see that under National Applied Research Laboratories, there are 9 research centers. Now, there's a program called KIN, Knowledge Innovation National Grid. Under this big research project, they developed at that center with so many grids, eco-grid, asthma grid, SARS, SS, biology hazards mitigations, and energy response grid, etc., e-learning grid. So many grids for different applications. Right? Today we will focus on eco-grid. Right? Asthma, this is a medical, asthma and SARS, these are related to medical health. Right? Any question? Now, that center not only played a very important role on the use of grid technology, particularly eco-grid, they also actively participated in the international joint project. This is called the PRAGMA, Pacific Rim Application Grid Middleware Assembly. PRAGMA in Taiwan plays a very important role. Actually, when I was the chairman of NARL, they host annually the annual meeting of PRAGMA in Taiwan, in Hsinchu. Attracted more than 20 scientists from 20 countries to participate therein. It started in 2002, and if I remember correctly, I think it's still continuing. Okay. Called the Pacific Rim Application Grid Middleware Assembly. Now, some area where there's no electrical power in high mountains, we use wireless battery power to transmit the data collected. Ecological data is collected, and then that data transmitted with wireless and to the NCHC, the National Computing Centers, High Performance Computing Centers. And this is the sensor network allowed high frequency observations over broad spatial extent. Existing sensors is in minutes and seconds, and it's up to 100 kilometers, 10 kilometers, etc. Now, to study the underwater, study the ecological system, we set up, we installed many monitors, including underwater TV monitors, to study different kinds of ecological behaviors. Like, for example, now this actually is already existence. Now in 2003, we installed the monitors in Fusan Botanical Gardens, as I mentioned earlier, and also Tatajia and Guanda Xi, there's a creek. All right. And in 2004, Enyang Lake and the Kendin, 2005, coastal area, agriculture area, etc. And in 2008, we installed underwater TV monitors in Orchid Island in 2008. All right. Any question on this? Also, that center, NCHC, also involved in the international cooperations of study the temperate lake behavior, particularly in close relations with a lake in Wisconsin, in central north Wisconsin in USA. So because these two lakes, there's Land Lake and one lake called Enyang Lake, also in Elan County. There are many resemblance. So they develop cooperations, study any correlations between these two lakes. Enyang Lake, when we filmed this DVD, we also visited Enyang Lake. There, Enyang Lake is here. There's no electrical power. So we installed the batteries and powers to transmit the data wirelessly. Okay. Now, this is the Global Lake Ecological Observation Network. It's again another international organizations, and again Taiwan plays very important role for this studies. There are so many participants in this, called GLEON. This slide shows that about the Kendin's underwater observation systems. It shows that located on top of the coral triangles, world's highest marine diversity regions. And now Taiwan, Crucial Current. Heard of Crucial Current? It's just like Gulf Stream in U.S. around. Now, as far as the oceanography is concerned, in the northern hemisphere of big oceans, the major current is clockwise. Is running clockwise. Like in the Atlantic Ocean, it's called Gulf Stream. For those of you who are from USA, you know that the Gulf Stream has strong current, warm water from mid-Atlantic oceans, flows to west. When they approaching the North American continent, they turn north, all right, along the Florida coast and went up to New Jersey, New England. All right. That strong current with warm water is called Gulf Stream. Now, in Pacific Ocean, northern hemisphere, similar current with warm water is called crucial. Very famous. Now, crucials pass east coast of Taiwan with strong current, warm water, lots of nutrition. So it's a fishing area. It's a very rich fishing area. The water is high temperature, high salinity, and no nutrients. Now, diversity, substrate topography, corals, rubbers, a lot of things. All right. So for ecological studies, that is pretty good area. Now, this slide shows the distribution of corals. Here is Taiwan, right here. All right. So very rich corals. The most famous, of course, in Australia, Golden Coast, here. So for those of you who are interested in snorkeling, definitely Taiwan is a very good place for visit. There's a coral reef environmental observation network. We observe, etc., etc. Now from lake to coral reef observations. Another thing I would like to mention is that in southern part of Taiwan, Pingtung County, Zhechen, Pingtung County, Zhechen, Pingtung County, there is a National Museum of Marine Biology and Aquarium. Anyone ever visit this? You did? How do you like it?
It's pretty nice.
Very nice.
Maybe one of the best aquariums I've ever visited.
I see.
Especially the rain shark.
And there is a building just display the corals.
Yeah.
Right? It's the largest coral distributions in the world. Now, I live in Maryland, not far from Baltimore. Baltimore also has a big aquariums. I visited the aquarium in Baltimore a couple of times. Compare that Baltimore's aquarium and Pingtung's aquarium, I think Pingtung is bigger and more impressive. All right. I also, about 4 years ago, I visited Okinawa. Anyone ever visit Okinawa? You did? You from Okinawa? No? Have you visited the aquarium in Okinawa? How did you like it?
It was so huge and beautiful.
Beautiful.
It was raining, so I couldn't go outside.
Now, in the aquarium in Okinawa, has several fishes. It's deep sea fishes, deep sea, because the Japanese they had the capability to go down deep, so they caught some species from deep seas, 6,000 feet, 10,000 feet. Now in Pingtung, because in Taiwan, it still does not have the capability to go down deep. All right? We are developing. Developing the capability to go down deep ocean, but right now it's still under development. So in this Pingtung's aquarium, it does not have some species from deep ocean, but it's definitely worth the visit. It's quite impressive. Besides what they have in the aquariums, you also have you also have the equipment to listen to, all right, and explain it. We call it digital archives. Okay, that is another applications of high tech in Taiwan to improve the quality of life. All right. So this is also a worthwhile visit. I hope that you find time to visit it. This slide shows where we install the underwater cameras to monitor the behaviors of corals. So we installed 3 cameras, underwater cameras, to study the corals' behaviors inside near Kendin. And in the DVD film I'll show you later, it shows that we installed the DVD cameras and we installed the TV cameras in underwater near a power plant intact. That is number 3 nuclear power plant intact. This shows, you can see that this is some kind of GET systems. This is inside the aquarium, Pingtung aquariums. Right? This is same about inside the aquariums. Okay. So that's all I want to show you from the slides. Okay. Any question? Now let me repeat this. Today's lecture, we introduce the application of GET technology to study ecological behaviors in Taiwan. Now, GET technology originated from electrical power grid, and we now use the excessive power of small computers as connected as cluster computer becomes a huge, large computer. By the way, the large computer in NCHC, National High Performance Computing Center, is ranked number 15th in the whole world in terms of capability is concerned. It's a cluster computer. With the large capacity of the computers in NCHC, we were able to conduct a lot of studies, including ecological studies, including natural disaster mitigation studies. I remember 3 weeks ago I mentioned this, and also health medicines like SARS, like asthma, etc. For those of you who are interested in learning more about this, I would recommend you to watch the TV series which I produced called Scientific Taiwan. Anyone ever try to look from the website, Scientific Taiwan TV series? We have 26 segments. All right. Today's DVD is only one of the 26. All right. We call it, now you can get into the website, NARL, called www.narl.com. narl.org.tw. And when you get on that website, there's a video sections. You click videos, and there are 26 segments of Scientific Taiwan will be there. All right, for those of you who are interested in that. And then some of it was just like today's, we have subtitle, English subtitles, but mostly it's in Mandarin. All right. Now, in Taiwan, the GREET technology has been applied for many scientific studies and also for others too. That's, and in the videos, we show two segments. One is the botanical gardens in Fusan, and the second segment is about underwater TV monitors study the behavior of corals near the nuclear power plant number 3 in Pingtung. Any question?
各位观众，大家好，欢迎收看《科技台湾新国力》，我是节目主持人赖义雄。每年4、5月，垦丁海域的珊瑚产卵，可以说是南台湾的年度盛事。不过，根据研究，海水温度上升1、2度，珊瑚就会开始褪色；温度上升3、4度，珊瑚就会死亡。台湾拥有相当丰富的海洋资源，但是南台湾核三厂所排出来的温水，到底会不会影响附近海底的生态？很庆幸，台湾的高科技并不是只在科学园区，在南台湾，我们建立了世界第1套的海底生态数位监测系统。节目一开始，我们先到核三厂一起去认识这项新科技。生态歌王。
On the western edge of the Pacific Ocean lies a small island encased in 1,140 kilometers of coastline. This is Taiwan. Research shows that Taiwan ranks 4th in the world in terms of the number of fish species that inhabit its waters. While the coral reefs off Kending's coastally constitute 1/1000th of the world's total area of coral reefs, 250, or a third of the world's coral species, can be found there. The biodiversity its reefs foster makes Taiwan an important marine nation. The fact that we can see such beautiful pictures of this event is thanks to new technology for monitoring the seafloor. This is the research center at Pingdong's National Museum of Marine Biology and Aquarium. A specialist in coral ecosystems and reproduction, Fan Tangyuan learned how to scuba dive in university, as it is a necessary skill for traditional marine research. The 20-kilogram air tanks and the 3-kilogram weights are the price each researcher has to pay to be able to understand more of the world under the sea.
嘛，所以就是你只能靠着你自己手上拿的手电筒去有一点光照明路这样而已。然后就前来前客，因为大家都要找那个有没有在排放卵的那个珊瑚，所以就是大家可能注意力都在珊瑚上面。然后当我回神过去的时候，奇怪，我周遭的人其实都不见了，然后灯光都不见了。然后那时候想说惨了，一开始我有看到那边有微光，可是当我要游过去的时候，光又不见了。这时候心里又更害怕，我想说不行，要冷静。
There are many restrictions to scuba diving. The weather conditions, the tides, and the water currents all have to be right.
我们人到海里面去潜水的话，受到这个海况的影响，然后受到另外自身健康状况的影响，还有就是我们能够待在水底下的时间其实非常有限。背一支空气瓶的话，可能待的时间长一点，可能有1个多小时，那可能不到1个小时。那这些都会限制我们人类的一个在水底观察的能力。
But now the ecological grid is writing a new chapter in the history of marine research. This is the number 3 nuclear power station in Pingdong, where researchers have set up the world's first long-term underwater digital monitoring system. With the remote-controlled camera equipment, they can now observe life beneath the waves 24 hours a day.
那个摄影机主要的功能是监测鱼类啦，那像之前他们鱼类分析有发现一些比较少见的种类，一些习性鱼类的习性，因为摄影机固定在上面，变成说没有任何的人为因素，不像我们潜水下去可能有气泡干扰鱼类的行为。对，如果你只要架在那边不要动的话，第一个它可以长时观测，比较长期的。那甚至于夜间，如果你有辅助灯光的话，也可以做一些夜间鱼类的习性观测啦，或者是珊瑚夜间的状态。所以那个摄影机的功能主要在这里。
当初最大的困难就是你在外面找不到镜头，就直接放在水里头。所以我们呢，当初就是开规格，那跟厂商讲说，这里的水流速度大概多少，那大概浊度多少，那么盐分大概多少，那么从这个规格，那么请厂商直接去设计。然后把整个设计完以后，我们再放在水里头。
我们海底的话是用摄影机，然后用缆线到岸上的机箱。那岸上的机箱会透过现在大家一般用的无线网络传到我们海水淡化厂控制室。那机房这边就可以直接上一般大家使用的 Internet。那只要有网络的地方，你就可以看得到我们的海底的画面。
With the help of this grid, Fan Tongyun can assess the condition of corals at the site at any time of the day.
透过这样子的一个海底的连续录影，那我们可以24小时可以持续的监看这些生物的活动。举例来讲，要夜潜的话，一般机会就少很多，但是夜间又有非常多生物的一些活动，譬如说风浪大、有台风的时候。那这个时候，海底下的生物它们怎么样去生活？怎么样去躲避这个强烈风浪的一个影响？那我们现在正在利用这一套海底录影的装置，正在24小时持续去监看。
工作是把 data 统统收集起来，然后放在我们的中心。那么这个 data 因为庞大，所以你怎么样把这些 data 分类，就好像图书馆在书把它分类一样。那将来做国网中心的目的就是说，透过这些大型的资料，我们来做一些模拟的动作。那模拟要干什么？模拟当然是将来要预测，比如说它将来鱼它怎么样流，它到哪里去啊，等等，像这样是国网中心是将来的。
领域习性你可能会不了解，因为你一靠近它的领域行为就会出现，还有一些它觅食的行为，所以那样子的观测等于是没有人为的打扰了，哦，所以你会得到比较正确的、精确的一些你想观测的东西。那如果我们背着水肺接近的话，第一个我们时间限制，我们一个这个气瓶、空气瓶下去潜水，大概看深度了哈，像那样子的深度大概可以潜大概60分钟左右。等于说你在那边观测只观测在60分钟的行为，而且还是在你打扰的行为之下，所以会有很大的差异啊。
The images from the project are not only used by researchers, but are also transmitted live to the number 3 nuclear power station's exhibition center.
咱礁呢有另外一个这南湾的这个附近的这个海域呢，哦，这个珊瑚的这个实况展示啦，哈，就是讲咱伫这个海中呢，哦，有这个架设几台的摄影机呢，也当将迄个海底珊瑚目前成长的情况呢，大家会当及时显现，让大家了解。
In the future, visitors will even be able to view live 3D pictures from the seabed.
国内的这一套海底录影，的确是在国际上算是蛮先进的一套。然后像我们未来还在跟美国、澳洲一起进行一些合作，然后针对这个海底录影，应用在珊瑚礁的一些监测研究上面。国内在这个部分，那透过不同单位的一个合作，还有本身这个环境的一个特性，那我们是走在国际的前面。
Not only is the unique ecological grid giving scientists a better understanding of Taiwan's marine ecology, but it is making Taiwan proud of its ocean floor, and the ocean floor proud of Taiwan.
生态革网的建制是研究生态的一项重大创举。很多人都知道，许多动物的听力相当敏锐，一有人靠近，它们就很快的躲开。想研究动物的生态，相当不简单。不过架设摄影机，24小时的监测，完全没有人为的干扰，生态学家就较能掌握动物实际的生活情形。在宜兰福山保育区，有台湾1/3以上的动植物生态资源，是生态研究的理想地方。现在，我们就一起到福山植物园参观里头的生态革网设施。
Over 1/3 of Taiwan's animal and plant species can be found in Yilan County. The yellow water lily was discovered in Hsinchu in 1915. And these mandarin ducks are only found in wetlands at elevated altitudes. Then there is also the very territorial little grebe, an expert fish catcher. The timid but quick-witted Formosan barking deer is one of the smallest species of deer in the world. The rich diversity of this subtropical habitat makes it an ideal research site.
从南到北，台湾大概有4000多种的维管束植物。那事实上，福山这里面大概就占了1/3。当然是因为它地形啊、气候比较特殊的关系。那至于动物的方面呢，因为它的海拔比较低的一点，所以它大部分是以这种小型的哺乳类啊，譬如说像飞鼠啦、像山羌啦、像猴子啦、台湾猕猴这一类呢，比较低海拔的动物，你在福山都可以看得到。
It rains in Fushan 220 days a year, leading to the region being termed a rainforest. A typhoon can bring up to 6.5 meters of rainfall to Fushan. That's enough to put a 2-story building underwater. The abundant rain gives life to Fusan's rich natural ecology.
福山的生态特色，它是很奇特的，就是说，它可以在这么低的海拔，但是它还是有我们台湾的所谓的温带的森林的一个特色。福山的生态特色，基本上如果说涵盖一句，就是说，它是在台湾阔叶树里面非常具有典型的，在这种所谓的软温带的森林这里面。
With over 1,000 of Taiwan's 4,000 plants on display, researchers have set up live camera feeds throughout the reserve so they can monitor environmental changes 24 hours a day. The cameras can turn 180 degrees as well as provide close-up images. They offer real-time pictures of ecological conditions from different places and from different angles. With the vast amount of information captured every day, how to save, use, and analyze this data is key.
我如果24小时都拍这么多影像，我要的是只有动物出现的这个影像的时候，那么我们就必须去发展一个分析的工具，让比如说这一天24小时里面的影像只有动物的影像跑出来。那更进一步，如果更智慧型的话，我就可以再告诉电脑说，我只要多大尺寸的动物跑出来。如果再进一步的话，我就可能可以设计出来是说，那么我给它一些特征，它就可以把这个特征的东西找出来给我。
The huge amount of information is sent to the National Center for High Performance Computing in Hsinchu to be stored and analyzed. This system is what is known as the ecological grid.
网格的一个最大的功能之一，是在很短时间内，你可以比较这个研究，比较范围越大，就空间范围越多的话，你就会了解全球的问题。因此，隔网就是在走这方面。
隔网是大概在1980年以后才慢慢发展出来一个新的电脑技术。你可以把它想象成它是一个格子的网状的一个系统，把你想要的所有的资源都大家来一起分享。所以隔网这个名称啊，变成一个资源的分享、资源的整合。
Fushan serves as the model research area for the grid, but the grid has already been extended to Yuanyang Lake, Guandao River, Tatajia, and Nanren Mountain, making up a long-term ecological grid.
以往如果我们要观察野生动物，都要做很多伪装，然后你可能要躲在什么地方，让动物觉得说没有人不受干扰。那通常我们也发现，生物学家也很在意说，因为人去干扰了，你研究出来的数据是可能有偏差，所以透过这样子的设计跟这样子的仪器，第一个你可能不必干扰到野生动物， 那你可以观察到它真实的生活状况。
The sharing of data has led to international collaboration. For example, like Elan's Renyan Lake and Trout Lake in Wisconsin in the US, both are northern temperate lakes. Through live feeds accessed over the internet, scientists on both sides of the Pacific can learn more about the conditions in both of these high-altitude lakes.
那鸳鸯湖这个高山湖泊是一个很特别的湖泊，它每年因为有台风经过，所以它会进水进得很多。那同样也有一个在美国威斯康星州有一个湖泊叫做北温湖，这个北温湖呢每年也有类似这种气象的变化，这就是下雪。那这两个湖一样不一样吗？很多湖泊生态学家是想知道，可是这么远的距离，我们怎么样有办法来把它们的这个现象啊连接起来呢？就是透过现在的科技，就是无线网络跟这个自动化的这个搜寻资料的机器，把它连接起来。
King Hun Biao is chairman of the Long-Term Ecological Research Network, as well as the head of the Subtropical Ecology Research Association. Established in 2006, the Research Association aims to lead global research on subtropical habitats. All related research papers are archived in Taiwan.
我们最近成立一个亚热带生态学会，那学会的目的呢，就是让这个亚热带的研究能够有一个可以发表的园地。能够有一个平台，让各国的研究人员的焦点集中在亚热带研究，但集中在亚热带，我们又是这个学会的这个地主国，显然我们会收很多资讯来。
As of 2005, 21 countries had set up plans for long-term ecological research. A leading player in the IT industry, Taiwan is also blessed with rich ecological resources. Combined, these two advantages push Taiwan to the forefront of global ecological research.
Okay, any comment on the video? Nothing? Yes.
Question. You said if the options are will warm up to more than 4 degrees or 4 degrees, and the corals will die.
Right.
And what do you think can Taiwan do about it? Because based on the recent data, it's going to warm up 3 to 4 degrees.
Who says that?
I can send you something.
Well,
Because the usage of fossil fuels is going to lower.
my understanding is that the coral will die naturally. And
That is like a single species.
right, just like any other species will die. And if the underwater temperature becomes abnormal, probably will die more quickly, right? Or more coral will die. That's not good. Just like just like a human being, something like that, or other species of animals. So we hope that the weather pattern or the ocean temperature, ocean water temperature, will remain relatively normal. So it becomes the coral, as far as the life of coral is concerned, will be normal, not abnormal. So if the temperature of the water suddenly jumped by 5 degrees, then yes, many coral will die. That's too bad. and the number of corals will decrease. Just like other, this is part of nature. But we hope that the human being will not create artificially the abnormalities of nature. We hope, yeah. We need to, the whole humankind. The whole humankind. Now, talking about this, one thing good as far as the computer era is concerned is we created a cyberspace. Now, in the past, we know that we are three-dimensional, right? X, Y, Z, three-dimensional. Then Einstein, Albert Einstein, he said that no, it's not only three-dimensional, it's four-dimensional. What's the fourth one? What? Time. Now, how many dimensions do we have? What is cyberspace? What is that? When we store the data or informations in computer or servers, or where? What is cyberspace? Now, we store a lot of things in cyberspace. Nowadays we have e-book, right? So we don't have to read the books, paper book. Each sheet of paper is from what? It's made of lumber. So if every time I went to bookstore, like you see, Esrat, anyone visited the big bookstore in Taipei? I saw so many books, so many magazines, so beautifully printed. Right? Now, 80% of them will be wasted. Nobody will buy them. Nobody will read it. And sooner or later, they'll dump it, reproduce, or just waste. Now, each sheet of paper is made of lumber. You have to cut the tree. That's waste. So one good thing about cyberspace is that nowadays we don't have to print so much things. We can save that. So I encourage you to use e-book.
But the problem is nowadays we don't use the tree to print, but we use it to burn it and to create energy. So it's more or less same.
Good. There is no free lunch. You have to pay for it, right? The question now is that how much we gain, how much we pay. If you think we gain more, we pay less, do it. If we think that we gain less and we had to pay more, then don't do it. Right? Yes, of course, there's something we have to pay. But as I say that human beings waste a lot. Nowadays, there are so many issues, so many problems in this world, and mainly created by human beings. Now, I grew up in this country. When I grew up, Taiwan was basically an agricultural society. In a way, it's underdeveloped. So we didn't consume that much natural resources. So I grew up here. I had a good habit not to waste too much. when I moved to U.S., I spent 46 years in U.S. now. And my children grew up there, was born there, grew up there. I observed that the difference between my children and my wife and I. Like for example, when you go to the toilet, how much paper you use? I watched my son grow up. Always as Eric, why you have to use so much papers? No? So that's, say for example, when my colleagues, they grew up in different backgrounds. Every time we went to, say, men's room together, to dry the hands, they used the paper, this long. I use only this much. But I said that's waste. But that's a bad habit. So United States with what? About 4 or 5% of the total populations, but they consumed about 15% of the world's resources, including the petroleum and energy. That's a waste. That's not good. But this citizens' conscience is very difficult to be trained or to be educated. It takes a long time. Americans, in this sense, bad guys.
I know it isn't the same kind of lifestyle like in Asia now, based on the same wastefulness, economic theories. I don't see any difference in China and Southeast Asia. You can blame the United States before, but the same is happening here.
It seems to me.
I'm not saying you are.
No, it seems to me the degrees of development has something to do with the waste of natural resources. If you imagine that there's a primitive tribe, all right, in Amazon area in Brazil, probably they consume very little natural resources. But as far as the advanced country is concerned, or developed countries is concerned, in general, they waste more. So it's only here, the conscience. Again, my son always turn on the lights. You always forget to turn off the lights. So nowadays, maybe say, for example, in this country, same thing. The younger generations waste more. And older generations probably didn't consume that much. Maybe have something happen, same thing in China. So, and the thing I couldn't tolerate in US is that, beautiful days, daytime, the street lights are still on. Every time I saw it, oh, terrible. Make my life, that day is miserable. Forget to turn it off or switch off or whatever, or more function or whatever.
Actually, most of them are solar powered, and then when a bird poops on it, it thinks it's nighttime, so it can fly.
Well, anyway, that's habit, bad habit. Nowadays, I'm glad that talking about this, we have LEDs, light bulbs coming up, right? With those safe lot of energies. That's good. However, we have to pay more. That's more expensive, right? So going back to your original questions, what happens if the water temperature rises more than 4 degrees abnormally? Right? Then many corals will die quickly. But corals is like other animals. They will adjust to the new environment, but not sudden change. Just like now, there's a question, maybe it's good, a topic, maybe good for you to write a term paper. What are the advantages of installing the cameras, 24 hours observation of the behavior of animals or plants? Compare with, say, diving, scuba diving, you see in the film, right? Then what are the advantages? Think about it. I think it's a good topic for a term paper. All right. You don't disturb. Right? Actually, as far as diving is concerned, I used when I was younger, I used to dive. But the ability to dive, the length of diving, and the water depth are closely related. Normally, during the scuba diving, for the divers get to about 30 feet water depth, 10 meters deep. Probably can, with oxygen tank, probably can last for 1 hour, 10 meters deep. If you go deeper, say 20 meters deep, probably could only last half an hour. Deeper, but shorter. Right? That's because of humans' conditions cannot sustain the huge water pressure. Now, recently, probably start about 20 years ago, the United States Navy developed a new diving technology. Used to be classified information, but later on they declassified it. It's called saturated diving. Anyone ever heard of? Saturation diving. Now, in the past, for a diver, you had to do the walk underwater, say 100 feet below, long time. Say they had to do the walk of 2 hours or 3 hours. Then they have to wield heavy equipment, right? And have you seen that? With the hand net, etc. And so you could go down there and do the walk. But nowadays, the U.S. Navy developed the so-called saturation diving. Is that the divers were on a special submarines. The submarine's bottomed, say to 800 feet, 250 meters in the bottom, sit on the ocean bottom. Then the water pressure at that depth is about 10 times the atmospheric pressure. So the divers were sent to a special pressure chamber. They gradually increase the pressure. The diver living there for a week. They increase the pressure in the chamber until the same pressure as the outside waters. So it took about 1 week time for the divers to gradually accustom to the high pressure environment. Then they open the gate, and then the diver could swim out, do the walk, without any, just the oxygen tank. That's it. And then after they finish the walk, they can come back to the chamber, close the gate, sit there, and press out, drain out the water. Then they gradually reduce the pressure. Again, maybe about 1 week time, back to 1 atmospheric pressure, then they could come back to the boat. All right. This is called saturation diving. So the diver could walk outside with, say, 10 times of atmospheric pressure, all right, without any heavy equipment. This technology is called saturation diving. All right. It takes time, but the idea is that human being is also a kind of animals. It can adjust to the new environment. All right. So, and it can sustain the high pressure too. Any other question you'd like to bring up? As I say that in the film, in the DVD, we have 2 segments, right? Both we have cameras, either underwater or not, to study the behavior of the plants or animals. And the advantages of 24 hours monitoring, right? So I understand that there will be reports, right? Student reports today. How many of you will do the reports today? 2 groups. Ready?